Good evening, dear friends. Wherever you are tonight, perhaps sitting in your favorite chair, a warm cup of tea resting nearby, I'm truly grateful you're here with us. This channel is a quiet space, a place to slow down, to breathe a little deeper, and to listen to stories that feel familiar. Stories that carry warmth, memory, and meaning. Tonight's story is about moments we may have all known in one way or another, the small turning points, the gentle lessons, and the quiet strength that only time can teach us. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and let's begin. Walter Briggs is 72 years old. 3 days ago, he slipped in his bathroom. Not a terrible fall. Not ambulance-level serious. Just bad enough to knock the wind out of him. He landed on his side, on cold tile. And for a moment, he couldn't move. Not because he was hurt. Because a thought entered his mind that scared him far more than the fall itself. How long would it take before someone noticed I was gone? He stayed there longer than he needed to, listening to the hum of the bathroom fan, listening to his own breathing, listening to a house that had been quiet for years, but suddenly felt very, very empty. Walter doesn't tell anyone about the fall. Not his neighbor. Not his doctor. Not even himself, in any honest way. He simply stands up eventually, grabs the sink, straightens his back, and continues the day as if nothing happened. But something did happen. A crack opened. Not in his bones. In his certainty about how much time he still had to fix things. Walter lives in a small ranch-style home outside Dayton, Ohio. Same house he bought in 1984. Back when mortgage papers were signed at kitchen tables. And you trusted a handshake almost as much as a contract. He bought that house with his wife Linda. Back when interest rates were high. Gas was under $1. And Walter believed stability was something you built once and kept forever. They raised one daughter there. Hosted backyard barbecues. Hung Christmas lights every December, even the year the ladder broke and Walter swore he was done with rooftops forever. Linda laughed at him that year. Said he complained about ladders every December. And climbed them anyway. Linda had a way of making ordinary days feel safe. Not exciting. Not dramatic. Just safe. Linda died 5 winters ago. Cancer. Slow. Quiet. The kind that gives you time to say goodbye. But never enough time to prepare for what comes after. Walter still remembers the last grocery list she wrote. Milk. Saltines. Chicken soup. And at the bottom, in handwriting shakier than he had ever seen. Don't forget to eat. He keeps that list folded inside his wallet. He has never told anyone that. Walter hasn't changed much in the house since Linda passed. Her floral curtains still hang in the kitchen. Her ceramic rooster still sits beside the stove. Sometimes he catches himself talking toward empty rooms. Small things. Linda, did you pay the electric bill? Linda, where'd you put the good scissors? Then he remembers. And the silence answers for her. There is a dent in the couch cushion where Linda used to sit every evening watching Jeopardy. Walter avoids that spot. He doesn't admit it, but he still leaves it untouched. Walter retired 4 years ago from a car parts manufacturing plant. 43 years. He started at 19. Stayed through layoffs, strikes, recessions, new management, automation scares, all of it. Walter liked to joke that he spent more time with machines than with people. Looking back, he realizes that might not have been a joke. Even now, his body wakes him up at 5:45 every morning. No alarm needed. He walks into the kitchen, fills his old Mr. Coffee machine, uses the same chipped Cleveland Browns mug he's had since the 90s. He pours coffee and stands by the back window. Every morning he watches the same thing. The neighbor's golden retriever runs laps around their yard. School buses pass the main road. Delivery trucks roll through like clockwork. Walter used to think routine meant stability. Now, sometimes it feels like routine means proof that life is moving, without asking him to come along. People congratulated Walter when he retired. Cake in the break room. Gold watch. Speeches about loyalty and dedication. For the first few weeks, retirement felt like a reward. He organized tools, cleaned the garage, watched daytime television like it was a novelty. Then something unexpected happened. The days stopped having edges. Weekdays felt like Saturdays. Saturdays felt like nothing at all. He remembers walking into a grocery store one Tuesday afternoon, standing in the cereal aisle, realizing he no longer knew what day it was. That frightened him more than aging ever had, because Walter always measured life in schedules. And suddenly, there were none left. Walter keeps his phone on the kitchen table, face down most days. He doesn't like seeing the empty notification screen. It feels personal. The phone used to ring constantly when Linda was alive. Doctor appointments. School updates. Emily calling home from college. Linda reminding him to pick up milk, even though she knew he would forget anyway. Now, Most of the calls he gets are from numbers he doesn't recognize. Extended warranty offers. Insurance promotions. Once, someone tried to sell him burial insurance. He hung up on that one faster than he had hung up on anything in his life. But afterward, he sat quietly for almost 10 minutes. Not angry. Just aware of what kind of marketing calls start targeting you when you reach a certain age. Sometimes he scrolls through his contacts. Frank from maintenance. Tony from night shift. Doug from welding. Men he spent decades standing beside. They used to promise things like, "We gotta grab breakfast after retirement." Turns out, people don't always lie when they say that. They just underestimate how quickly life pulls everyone in different directions. And how friendships built around shared schedules sometimes fade when the schedule disappears. Emily is 38. She lives in Colorado now. Married. 2 kids. Soccer practice. School pickups. PTA meetings. Busy life. Walter keeps a picture of her family on the refrigerator, held up by a magnet shaped like a tiny American flag. He bought that magnet at a 4th of July parade when Emily was 10. She used to wave sparklers in the driveway, writing her name in glowing letters while Walter warned her not to burn holes in the lawn. Emily used to wait for him by the front window when she was little. Walter can still see her in his memory, sliding across the hallway floor in socks, yelling, "Dad's home." He used to pick her up, spin her around, until Linda told him someone was going to break something. Walter always thought he was a good father. He worked overtime. He never missed a mortgage payment. He paid for braces, paid for college. He believed something very common, something many fathers of his generation believed. Providing was love. He never realized Emily needed him to show up in ways money couldn't. There is one memory that comes back to Walter more often these days. Emily was 8. She had a school play. She played a sunflower, second row, left side. Linda ironed the costume twice to make sure the petals stood perfectly. Walter promised he would be there. He remembers Emily asking him 3 separate times that morning, "You're coming, right, Dad?" He said yes every time, without hesitation, without realizing promises are heavier when spoken to children. That afternoon, the factory was behind schedule. A supervisor asked him to stay late. Walter told himself the same thing millions of parents tell themselves: "This is for my family." When he got home, the house was quiet. Linda was sitting at the kitchen table folding laundry. Emily's costume was hanging on her bedroom door. Linda didn't yell. She never yelled when she was truly disappointed. She just said. She kept looking at the audience, hoping you'd walk in. Walter remembers nodding, like he understood the weight of that sentence. Truth is, he didn't. Not yet. Later that night, he peeked into Emily's room. She was asleep, still wearing green face paint around her eyes. He almost woke her up to apologize. But he told himself she wouldn't remember it when she was older. Walter didn't understand then. Children don't always remember events. They remember feelings. When Emily was 15, she tried to talk to him one night while he was watching a Browns game. She said she felt invisible at school. Walter remembers nodding, barely listening. Eyes locked on the television. He told her, "High school's rough for everybody. You'll toughen up." He thought he was teaching resilience. But Emily just said, "Okay," and walked upstairs. Walter didn't notice that moment at the time. But looking back, that was the night conversations between them started getting shorter. She stopped asking him questions. Stopped telling him about her friends. Stopped waiting by the window. The evening after his fall, Walter walks into his garage. The garage smells like oil, sawdust, and winters that never quite leave. He finds an old cardboard box labeled Emily, School Stuff. Inside were drawings, report cards, soccer trophies with peeling gold paint, and a handmade Father's Day card. Crayon letters. "My dad is my hero because he works very hard." Walter sits down, holding that card, and laughs softly. Not because it's funny, because it's painfully honest. Emily never stopped loving him. She just stopped expecting him to listen. Under the card, he finds a construction paper project titled, "When I Grow Up." Emily wrote, "I want to be someone people talk to when they are sad." Walter stares at that sentence for a long time. He wonders if part of her chose that dream because she didn't feel heard at home. That night, snow begins falling outside. Midwest snow doesn't rush. It drifts down slowly, like time itself is moving carefully. Walter sits in his recliner watching headlights pass across the living room wall. He remembers how snow days used to mean hot chocolate, board games, Emily building crooked snowmen in the yard. Now, snow just makes the house quieter. He flips through television channels without watching anything. Eventually, he mutes the TV entirely. just to see how quiet the house really is. The silence is deeper than he expected. Lying on the bathroom floor 3 days ago, Walter didn't just feel fear. He felt clarity. He thought about mail piling up, grass growing too tall, neighbors assuming he was visiting family. He imagined weeks passing before someone checked on him. And for the first time in his life, he wondered if loneliness wasn't something that happened to him, but something that slowly formed around him. Piece by piece, choice by choice. That night, Walter sits at the kitchen table again. The clock ticks loudly. He opens his phone, scrolls to Emily's name. His thumb hovers over it. He imagines her seeing his name on her screen. Imagines her wondering, why now? He imagines her being polite, distant, careful. He almost puts the phone down. Because silence is easier than hearing disappointment. He stands up, walks to the hallway mirror, and studies his reflection. He sees his father's face staring back at him. A man who also worked too much, spoke too little, and died before Walter ever asked him real questions. Walter whispers quietly, "I don't want to repeat that ending." Walter walks to the living room, sits in the recliner he bought the year Emily left for college. He looks around at framed photos. Disney trip, graduation day, Emily holding her newborn son. He remembers holding that baby in the hospital. Terrified he would repeat mistakes he never fully understood. He whispers, almost embarrassed by the sound of his own voice, "I don't want to leave this world like this." He picks up the phone, takes a breath that feels heavier than it should, and presses call. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times. Walter almost hangs up. Then, "Hello?" Emily's voice is older now. Softer. Careful. Walter forgets every speech he planned. All he says is, "Hi, sweetheart. It's Dad." Silence. Not empty silence. Memory-filled silence. "I just wanted to hear your voice." There's a pause. Then Emily asks quietly, "Are you okay?" Walter nods, forgetting she can't see him. "Yeah, I just missed you." Another pause. Emily exhales softly. "I miss you too. Sometimes I just didn't know how to say it." Walter grips the phone tighter. They talk about weather, her kids, his doctor visits, the Browns losing again. They laugh awkwardly, like strangers trying to remember a language they once spoke fluently. Before hanging up, Emily says, "You can call anytime, Dad." Walter doesn't answer right away. Hope feels fragile when you haven't touched it in years. Finally, he says, "I'd like that." Later that night, Walter sits alone again. The house is still quiet. The clock still ticks. But something feels different. He walks to the refrigerator, looks at Emily's family photo. For the first time in years, he doesn't feel like he's looking at people who moved on without him. He feels like he's looking at people he might still belong to. Walter learned something at 72 years old. You don't need to fix every mistake in your past. Sometimes, you only need the courage to make one small reach towards someone you love. Because healing doesn't always arrive as a miracle. Sometimes, it arrives as a simple phone call. And sometimes, that is enough to make a quiet house feel like home again.